Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the exact same event and yet react in completely opposite ways? One may fall into despair, feeling that their world has crumbled, while the other sees an opportunity to grow and transform. This difference is not in what happened. It is in the story they tell themselves about what happened. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychologist, taught us that most of what we perceive as reality does not come from the outside world. It is born within. Our brains filter experiences through past memories, beliefs, and patterns, many of which we no longer consciously notice. Studies suggest that around 95% of our thoughts are repetitive and often negative, reflecting inner patterns rather than objective reality. Consider a simple example. Two employees are fired on the same day. The first sinks into despair, convinced their value was tied to their job position. The second sees the same event as an opportunity to explore a new career path. The external facts are identical, yet their internal realities differ drastically. This illustrates Jung's key insight. We do not react to facts themselves, but to the narratives our minds construct about them. Autopilot. Why we repeat the same patterns. Have you ever noticed that even when you want to change, you often repeat the same mistakes? This is not a lack of willpower, it is your brain on autopilot. Research from Duke University shows that about 40% of daily actions occur automatically, without conscious decision-making. Our brains are wired to conserve energy, turning emotional and behavioral patterns into habits. Take the example of a person who has always avoided conflict. Perhaps as a child, they learned that expressing themselves led to arguments, so silence felt safer. Today, even in situations where they could assert themselves, they remain silent, not because they consciously choose to, but because the pattern has become automatic. This autopilot governs almost everything: how we handle disappointment, how we respond to stress, and even how we perceive our own value. The good news? This autopilot can be turned off, but only through conscious awareness. The first step is noticing it, observing when a reaction is automatic rather than chosen. This observation creates a small but powerful gap, a space where you can consciously choose a different response. The illusion of control. One of the main sources of modern anxiety is the attempt to control the uncontrollable. We try to predict outcomes, manage other people's behavior, or prevent uncertainty, believing that control equals safety. The irony is that the more we try to control, the less secure we feel. Humans crave predictability. Our brains prefer a bad but known outcome to an uncertain but potentially better one. This explains why many stay in unfulfilling jobs, toxic relationships, or uncomfortable situations. They cling to the illusion of control. Yet control is always partial. You can plan, prepare, and give your best effort, but you cannot dictate the future or other people's actions. Attempts to control often result in disappointment, frustration, and emotional burnout. Jung emphasized that peace comes not from controlling the world, but from controlling your own responses and attitude. The power of silence. Silence can be terrifying, yet it is one of the most potent tools for personal transformation. When everything around you quiets down, the internal noise, the fears, insecurities, and unresolved disappointments emerges. A study at the University of Virginia found that many participants preferred mild electric shocks to 15 minutes of silence and solitude. This highlights just how uncomfortable we are with our own minds when unoccupied. Most people fill silence with distractions, phones, TV, or constant activity. Yet this avoidance keeps the mind in perpetual motion, preventing awareness and clarity. Learning to sit with silence, even briefly, allows you to hear your thoughts, observe your emotions, and start disentangling automatic reactions from conscious choices. Observing without identifying, being present is not mystical. It is practical. It means noticing what is happening now, without getting lost in memories or anxieties about the future. Studies from Harvard University show that people spend almost 47% of their time thinking about something other than what they are doing, and this habitual distraction correlates with lower well-being. Simple techniques can anchor you in the present. Conscious breathing. Focus for 1 minute solely on inhaling and exhaling to interrupt automatic thought patterns. Body scanning. Shift attention to different parts of your body, noticing sensations without judgment. These practices train your mind to observe impulses instead of reacting, gradually giving you space to choose how to respond. Jung and modern psychology distinguish between pain and suffering. Pain is inevitable. Losses happen, disappointment occurs, but suffering is optional. Suffering arises when we resist or misinterpret events, layering them with fear, self-criticism, or fixed expectations. For example, being criticized at work can trigger an automatic spiral of thoughts. I'm a failure. I'll never be trusted again. This is suffering, not the pain itself. By observing emotions and labeling them without resistance, you reduce their intensity and reclaim your mental energy. Similarly, attachment, whether to people, expectations, or outcomes, creates emotional prisons. Holding on to a fixed idea of how life should unfold leads to repeated disappointment. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means accepting what is and focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, choices, and reactions. Reprogramming internal dialogue. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. Negative self-talk, if unexamined, becomes a constant inner critic, increasing stress, anxiety, and even depression. For instance, forgetting a meeting can trigger. Healthy response. It happened, now I'll fix it. Negative self-talk. I'm incompetent. No one will trust me again. Changing your inner dialogue is not about fake positivity. It is about transforming judgment into observation and inquiry. What can I learn from this? How can I respond differently next time? Neuroscience shows that the brain is plastic. Repeated practice of mindful response and positive reframing strengthens new neural pathways, gradually replacing autopilot reactions with conscious, intentional behavior. Turning adversity into growth. Life inevitably brings challenges, but how you interpret them determines their impact. Losing a job, facing rejection, or experiencing a relationship breakdown can become turning points rather than endings. Real-life examples abound. People who lose their jobs may start businesses, shift careers, or discover paths more aligned with their true selves. Pain remains, but it becomes a catalyst for transformation. Resilience is not built in crises alone. It is cultivated daily. Small, consistent choices matter. Observing thoughts without immediate reaction. Taking deep breaths instead of lashing out. Creating brief moments of silence to reconnect with yourself. Each act strengthens your capacity to respond consciously, forming the foundation for peace independent of external circumstances. Building inner strength. By practicing presence, observing patterns, and managing internal dialogue, you cultivate a state where no one and nothing can shake you. External events continue, but your responses are no longer dictated by fear, habit, or attachment. You become anchored in yourself. Imagine a person criticized at work. Instead of transferring that stress onto loved ones, they pause, observe, breathe, and choose their next step. This conscious choice shifts energy from reaction to creation, from chaos to clarity. Over time, these choices accumulate, creating a life of self-determination and inner stability. Practical steps to unshakable peace. Awareness. Notice automatic thoughts and behaviors. Presence. Anchor yourself in the moment through breath or body scanning. Observation without identification. Emotions and thoughts are signals, not commands. Detach from outcomes. Accept what you cannot control. Focus on your responses. Reframe inner dialogue. Transform criticism into constructive reflection. Daily micro practices, short periods of silence, mindful breathing, or reflection reinforce new habits. These small, consistent actions gradually create psychological resilience, allowing you to respond to life with clarity rather than being buffeted by circumstance. Jung's teachings reveal a profound truth. Peace and stability are cultivated within, not found outside. By observing the stories your mind tells, detaching from automatic patterns, and embracing presence, you reclaim your power. You learn to navigate life without being controlled by fear, desire, or the illusion of control. After this, no one and nothing can shake you. Challenges become opportunities, pain becomes a teacher, and life unfolds with clarity. True freedom is not the absence of difficulty. It is the mastery of your response to it. The journey is gradual, imperfect, and requires practice, but each moment of conscious choice strengthens your foundation. When you reach this state, your inner stability becomes unshakable. You belong fully to yourself, and in that belonging lies your ultimate freedom.